Can you believe it? The Stardew Valley official cookbook is finally here. Hey friends, how's it going? And welcome to my farm. And welcome to my kitchen. A place of magic, wonder, and just general good vibes. At least that's how I see it. Electricity is in the air today, and I couldn't be more excited. I have spent so much time making sure my farm looks as good as possible. I love the world, I love the characters. I love how relaxed it makes me feel after a long day of work. I love the music, I love the gameplay, and even one tedious aspect of the game that I love is the cooking. Cooking isn't the most complex part of Stardew, but it is a pretty big part, especially if you're a perfectionist like myself. It's seen as a great accomplishment to master every recipe in the game, and there are a lot of them. And so for a while, I've always wanted to actually recreate some of the dishes, some of the recipes from the actual game. So that brings us to the new Stardew Valley Cookbook. There are 50 recipes ranging from breakfast to dinners with pastries and drinks thrown in as well. They did a great job of capturing the essence of the game into the book. It definitely feels official, if that makes sense. There's probably a good chance that a lot of you probably didn't even know that this cookbook even existed. It wasn't marketed that well in my opinion, but here it is. Look at this beautiful artwork. It's incredible. There's really good artwork inside the book as well, which checks out because the artwork in the game is fantastic. Incredibly vibrant pixel art everywhere you look that is really unmatched in my opinion. It's one of the main reasons why people have been dedicated to the game ever since it released in 2016. So here's what we're going to do. The recipe book is broken into sections, or just like the game, spring, summer, fall, winter. But we're getting ready to journey into summer, so today's recipe is going to be straight from the summer section, and we're going to be making a delicious tropical curry. Well, slap my cheeks and call me Farmer Alec, I knew I wanted to make this particular recipe the moment I discovered it. I mean, what's not to love from the description? And I knew that it would allow me a good bit of leeway, plus I love recipes that combine fruit with savory sauces. After looking at the ingredients, it doesn't appear to be that difficult to make either. As far as I'm concerned, that's a perfect storm for a great meal. Also, it's curry. And let's be honest, what's better than curry? In my opinion, it's one of the best things that has ever been created. Enough talking about, let's get started. Let's have some fun and let's make Grandpa proud. Alright, the first step is to acquire our ingredients. So let's head over to the general goods store. Pierre better not mess with us today, we are on a mission. We need some potatoes, probably some garlic, maybe some peppers, definitely some yams, rice as a base, and what recipe doesn't include oil? That pretty much does it, but this is a tropical curry after all, so let's see if I have a pineapple growing on my Ginger Island farm. I like to grow a lot of my fruit on the island since it's always summer, but at the same time, I think growing pineapples might have slipped my mind. Yeah, it's not looking good. But that's okay, to Trader Joe's I go. This big guy is gonna be the star of the show. We're gonna actually be cutting it in half and using the pineapple inside to flavor the curry, but also using the hollowed out pineapple as the bowl. We're getting absolutely bonkers with it today, no doubt. So like I said, we're going to lay it down on its side so that it doesn't slip and so that we can try our best to slice it in a way to end up with two even sides. This pineapple ended up being perfectly ripe, which you can usually tell by the yellow coloring on the outside. When I bought it, it was mostly green, so I had to wait about 5 days for it to ripen before I could attempt this recipe. The next step is to carve around the pineapple to create our bowl. I'm trying to leave around a ½ inch of pineapple so that the curry doesn't bleed through later on and things remain stable. After all, a soggy bowl is just not a good time. Removing the chunks in the middle should be pretty easy as long as the pineapple is ripe, since the fruit will be soft and broken down by its natural sugars. So there we go, it's looking pretty decent, and we're left with a good amount of pineapple juice at the bottom. Not trying to waste anything here, because you never know when you might need a little bit more pineapple flavoring down the road. I could probably get a little bit more out, but I think this is fine, and that remaining pineapple is going to help give the curry more flavor anyways. We're off to a good start, so let's speed things up and make it more intense for pretty much absolutely no reason. So I'm gonna start prepping my butt off here, so brace for impact, starting with some fresh ginger. I love ginger. I know it can be divisive though, since it's pretty unique in flavor. But I'll tell you what isn't, a big juicy red bell pepper. Sweet but sort of spicy. It's personally my favorite stage of the bell pepper. And I got lucky and I found a really rock solid one. Don't get comfortable though, we got a lot more prep, so here comes the potatoes. The starch from the potatoes will help thicken up the curry, which I'm not mad about. Plus, potatoes make me happy. Now let's move on to a sweet potato that I'm going to pretend is a yam. I'm not the biggest fan of sweet potatoes, but I can respect them, and it will provide additional sweetness to help balance out the curry with all that spice. Speaking of spice, let's get a serrano pepper in here to heat things up. It is curry after all, and we can't be scared to really send it. Now there is a decision to be made. We could de-seed the pepper, but I think we should leave them in since the seeds produce a lot of the heat. But just keep that in mind if you want to make this yourself. Since curry is all about the spices and natural flavors, I'm going to prep some fresh thyme as well to give it that extra punch of herbs and unique flavor. The last veggie in our prep list is Old Faithful, just a sweet onion straight off the shelf. Not too shabby, and I'm excited for what comes next. So the prep work is mostly done, so let's take a second to survey the land and see what we're working with here. Look at this bountiful harvest we have cultivated. With ingredients prepped like this, no man, woman, or child can stand in our way. A little bit exhausting, but all the prep work is pretty much done, so let's head up to the stovetop and let's start working on the curry. Stardew Valley falls under the genre of games that people would describe as cozy, so it's only fitting that we try to match those vibes while finishing up this curry. So with that said, grab yourself a nice warm blanket out of the dryer, light some candles, call off work for the week, and let's watch this process unfold. So what I'm going to do here is sweat out some veggies and let them get to know each other to create a nice foundation before we add in the stock and curry powder here in a bit. All the acid and natural sugars will infuse into the coconut oil, which will help transfer the flavor throughout. Fats do carry flavor after all. Remember that the next time you're watching Paul Blart Mall Cop 2, Electric Boogaloo. As we continue on, make sure to season with salt to help draw out that liquid, and we definitely want the curry to end up decently salty for balance. Oh man, I am liking the way that is looking. So imagine this, you are the main character of the game. You get to quit your job and you just get to go run your grandpa's farm. Life becomes simple as you become a millionaire simply by selling your body weight in parsnips, like every day for the next 10 years. That is such a dream. Plus in the world of Stardew, there's like magic and stuff. Beyond the wizarding world of Harry Potter, Stardew Valley might be the second best world to live in. I mean, even if you die, you just end up back in your farm mansion the next day, ready to mine for rare precious minerals, and you can raise blue chickens. What a life. Speaking of life, let's change ours by throwing down a heaping amount of curry powder. The recipe calls for Jamaican curry powder, but I couldn't find some, so I had to settle for the more traditional Indian variation. We're going to follow that up with vegetable stock and give it a really good stirring, being careful to scrape the sides to avoid burning. At this point, we are left with a delicious looking base that once we get the additional stock in and the coconut milk, it should transform into a golden curry of the gods. The curry might be pretty loose, but fret not, that's where the potatoes and the starch come into play. Plus, if you leave the curry on the flame for a good while uncovered, a lot of that liquid will reduce and thicken up anyways. I'm going to keep stirring until our curry heats up to a steady simmer, and then just let the magic unfold. After the curry has been reducing for a while and it's nice and hot, I'm going to throw in our chunks of pineapple directly back in to warm up and sweeten the curry just a little bit more. We are truly on the home stretch now. Everything is done, so let's get our presentation ready to rock and roll. Let's grab our pineapple bowl first, follow that by some long grain rice. Don't be afraid to smother the rice with the curry. We came to play, and that rice is going to absorb so much. Now don't hate me, but I did prepare some additional things off screen that are optional, such as cilantro, a shrimp skewer, and another serrano pepper for additional heat if we want. And just like that, our tropical curry is done, and I think it looks incredible. All of our hard work is paid off. In my opinion, this looks absolutely incredible, and our tropical curry, inspired by Stardew Valley, is complete. You guys would not believe how great it smells in this kitchen right now. I mean, anytime I make curry, it always smells fantastic, but it's on a different level right now. You've got all that traditional curry flavors combined with the freshness of the pineapple and the cilantro on top, and I'm excited to dive in. We've earned it. I might as well take a big bite and then tell you how it tastes. You know, some days we're just more grateful to be alive, and today's one of those days because of this curry. It's that good. It's just such an explosion of flavor. What a great recipe to start off with in this recipe book. I mean, it's just incredible. Where is that book? Job well done, job well done. All that flavor, all that freshness. I would definitely order this at a restaurant. I highly recommend you give it a shot. So guys, let me know down in the comments section, what is your favorite part or favorite aspect of Stardew Valley? Is it the actual farming? Or maybe you like going into the mines and fighting for resources, or cooking and fishing? Just let me know. We can talk about it down in the comments. I have my own personal take on the matter, so I'd love to get into a discussion about it. At the end of the day, I love this game, and I'll talk about anything related to it. Thanks for feasting with me today, and please subscribe if you liked what you saw.